You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 83 of Teach Better Talk. I was going to say, wow, 83, that's big. All right, I'm Ray Hewart, and as always, I am with the speedy typer, Jeff Gargis. Hey Jeff, how are you doing?
Apparently I'm speedy typer, that's how I'm doing.
You know what, don't even sound surprised because our guest described you as a speedy typer after she's interacted with you numerous times on Mastery Chat, which happens every Thursday, by the by. And she always talks about how fast you are getting your tweets out.
Well, I mean, I try to go fast, I guess. I don't know how to take that. I guess I'm proud of my fast typing ability.
Jeff, that's a skill that every middle school student strives to master. I think at the age that you are, you should be pretty happy that you got there.
I'm pretty happy with it. I think Mastery Chat has made it have to happen because you got to be quick and you're trying to, I feel like it's a big responsibility to me to kind of acknowledge everyone that gets in the Mastery Chat and say hi and make sure they know that we appreciate them taking time out of their day and hanging out with us on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern, by the way, every Thursday.
Oh, is that 7 o'clock Central, Jeff Vargas?
That is 7 o'clock Central. So, that's awesome. That was great. Yes, Kathleen's been connected with us and very active in Master Chat for a while, so this was a really fun episode chatting with her and stuff, too. Something that came up, and we could talk more about it when we get to the episode. Obviously, she shares a lot of it, but she talked about her passion of working with young teachers, and we actually get into quite a bit of a conversation about the need for changing the narrative around the teaching field, the field of teaching, right, and the career of teaching, and how we need to change the way it's looked at so that more teachers come in, and some of these young teachers have the confidence when they come into it, or some of these teachers, kids and growing up that maybe decide not to be teachers that should be, make the decision to come into the field and stuff. It got me thinking about, and I hope you don't mind, I'm going to throw something at you, but got me thinking about a lot of the mentorship. You do a lot of mentorship with young teachers as they're coming up, and you're actually working on a course about it now that's going to come out in August, and we talk a lot about it, and we talked about Dr. Sam Fessage in this episode, who's awesome, by the way, who does a lot of it as well. So I thought I wanted to turn to you. So if I'm a teacher, Ray, and I've got a younger teacher in my life, in my building, maybe they just came in down the hall, or maybe I know them because it's my daughter, my son, my nephew, my niece, whatever, and I want to help them just navigate that first year, or navigate as they're not even there, maybe they're still pre-service. I want to get them so that the right mindset. Or there's some strategies that you could share with us for sort of how to set that relationship up, how to guide it, things you need to think about.
Absolutely. I'm going to try not to blab on forever about this because keep it
under 25 minutes if you could.
Oh, I can't promise that. But we've been doing a lot of writing on this topic. I'll try not to talk too much on it, but this concept of, teachers really want to be viewed differently. And, I was actually in a conversation last week about what teachers deserve, right? So teachers deserve respect. Teachers deserve to get more money. Teachers deserve all these elements. And I think that we touched on it perfectly in this episode that rather than focusing on what teachers want to be able to get from the public, let's start by controlling the narrative. What can we do to start really echoing the power of a teacher in the classroom? And so we started building the course that is coming out in August about, mentoring. We kind of phrased it as the art of mentoring, right? So what are all the things that you could do if you're working with a new teacher, whether they be a pre-service teacher, a first-year teacher, or maybe just a teacher that's new to your building? What are some strategies to not just building a relationship, but actually giving effective feedback to a professional that you're working with, right? And then how does that translate then to building the culture in your building and everything in between? So it's kind of the 1,000-point view. One of my favorite components that will be in this that I really love, it goes really well with what we talked about, is this idea of how to give feedback. So in the course that I'm working on right now is we have like 7 or 8 different strange ways to observe a new teacher. And this could be like a 5-second pop into the classroom or a 25-minute observation. But when I say observation, I mean no evaluation attached, literally like colleague with colleague or mentor with mentee. And you're just trying to collect data that you can then reflect on with your newer staff member. One of my favorite things to do, and I learned this from Jim Broach. He's an incredible mentor I had, and I give him credit in the course, but tracking a teacher's movement for a mini lesson. So you literally are not able to pick your pencil up from the paper. You have to kind of sketch out what the classroom looks like more or less. And you, throughout the entire mini lesson, I don't care if it's 3 minutes long, 15 minutes long, track the movement of the teacher. And then that becomes your conversation starter when you sit down and kind of reflect on what you were able to observe. So we have a ton of those that we're able to share, but I love this idea of teachers working together, not just to improve their practice, but to start controlling the narrative of what teachers do and the impact they have on students.
I love it. And like I said, we talk a lot about that, and I love the controlling the narrative angle, and we talk a lot about that with our guest today, Kathleen Trace. Kathleen, like I said, has been really involved in Mastery Chat for a while now. She's been our PLN for a while. She's a national board certified educator. She's currently in Virginia. She's taught English in grades 9, 10, 11, and 12 on academic, collaborative, and honors level. She does dual enrollment English. She's done mass communications, yearbook, newspaper, communications technology. She's been in 5 different school systems, so a lot of different experience. 4 of those were in Virginia. She said one of them was in Maryland. She was actually a recipient of the Japan Fulbright Memorial Fund scholarship, and spent a month in Japan studying on their education system. So a lot of experience, a wealth of knowledge, and she's got just a true passion for really encouraging future teachers and helping them find their paths to that successful career with her Wannabe Teacher blog and her Wannabe Teacher's Guide. Her book is really, really awesome. And I just thought there was so much value in this episode. Like, I mean,
Absolutely.
We got going back and forth, and we got in some really cool conversations. I was super pumped after getting, I think I actually say the words, I'm like pumped right now. So that's what I really want you to take away from it as you listen through, is just the passion that she has for like Ray said, changing this narrative, controlling the narrative, and changing the way people look at the teaching profession and recognizing the amazing things that are going on. Ray, anything else you want listeners to pay attention to while listening?
This is just one to really listen. She has incredible stories and amazing connections she's been able to make. She has a great mission. So don't multitask for this one, people. Sit down, enjoy some time. She's on vacation while recording it. So pretend you're on vacation and enjoy this episode.
Episode 83 with Kathleen Trace starts right now. All right, we are here and we are talking with Kathleen Trace. And Kathleen, it's been really excited to bring you on tonight. We've been connecting with you. We were just talking before we hit record that we've been connected for a while. You're very active in our Mastery Chat on Thursday nights, which is awesome. And so we were just like, we got to bring her on. I don't know why you weren't on already. So it's great to have you here. We're super excited. We know you're on vacation, but you snuck away still to come on this. And that means a whole lot to us. So we really, really appreciate that. How are you feeling? How's vacation going? How's your summer break going? How are you doing?
It's going well. It's only been about a week, so I don't think my brain has entirely shifted yet. But a teacher needs a little time to decompress from the classroom and then refocus and get ready again for another year.
I think it's just epic dedication that you decided, even while a week into summer break and on vacation, you want to come hang out on Teach Better Talk. That's awesome.
Well, you guys are awesome.
We do what we can. Hey, what's up? It's Jeff. Don't worry, we're going to get right back to the episode, but I really want to check out and make sure that you are connected with us on social media. Ray and I and the entire Teach Better team want to connect with you. We want to hear your stories. We want to be a part of your journey. We want to be there to support you in any way we can, and we want to learn and grow with you. So please connect with us. Everything we have is at Teach Better Team. And then, of course, make sure you connect with me at Jeff Gargas and Ray at Ray Hewart. Let's get back to the episode.
Well, I want to make sure we start off by talking about you and our listeners, learning all about you. So do you mind sharing a little bit of how you answer the typical question of, what you do?
I do a little bit of everything. First and foremost, I'm a mom. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. Obviously, I'm a teacher. I currently teach 12th grade dual enrollment English and journalism in Virginia Beach. I am recently converted to a blogger, as I've learned that's a great way to connect with people about education and teaching. And I'm also a writer. I have a couple of books under my belt, so a little bit of a jack of all trades.
You really are a jack of all trades. Wow.
No kidding. So tell us about the books. What books do you have out?
Well, one has very little to do with teaching. It's a novel. One of the main characters is a teacher, but it's called Have Mercy. It's available on Amazon. And then my nonfiction is it's called The Wannabe Teacher's Guide to Getting Hired, Having Fun, and Staying Sane. And I wrote that because it was something I wished I had when I started teaching, kind of a how-to guide to get into the profession, resumes, interviews, the first day, the first week, the first year, checklist, things like that, all in one place. So I hope that it's helpful to people that want to enter the field of education.
Awesome.
I'm literally going on Amazon right now buying it.
I was going to say, both are available on Amazon, I assume, right? Yeah.
Yes, both available on Amazon.
Awesome. So we'll make sure those are in the show notes so everybody can go check those out. That's fantastic.
Awesome.
All right, so we've got so teacher, couple books out, started blogging. You're a mom. There's a lot of stories to be told, I'm sure. So I'm going to ask you to take us into a story. Let's talk about a time that you've had some struggle, had a challenge, even a failure. Tell us what happened. How to make you feel. How did you overcome the situation, and then what did you learn from that?
Well, I actually had a pretty good one this year. I do a year-long passion project with my seniors that I spearheaded in my classroom and then is now school-wide, where they research, they find something they're passionate about, they dig deeper into it and figure out a way in which they can do something that can help others, but it's something that they're passionate about. And so I brought it to the whole 12th grade, and I wanted to create something that made it kind of published beyond the classroom and shared beyond the classroom, especially throughout the process, because it's a year long where they're researching, they're writing, they're, communicating with people outside the school building. And so I organized this feedback gallery in the library, and each student or group, because they're allowed to work in groups, had to create a little flyer about what they're doing, why they're doing it, any help that they need. And then there was a little spot for feedback. And then all the 12th grade classes during English, we're going to circle through, read the flyers, and give feedback. And I thought this was a great idea. and I work at a school where kids are generally kind and they're not going to write mean things. So that wasn't the issue. But the issue was, after a couple of blocks of that and reading the feedback that was given, I realized that we didn't teach them how to give feedback, because they were writing, "Oh, this is good. I like this." Or maybe you should rethink this. But that's not feedback that's helping anybody. So right in the middle, I think it was second block, after realizing this, I emailed all the English 12 teachers and I said, we got to, before they go down to the library and give feedback, we have to teach them how to give feedback. I like this because of this. Here's what you could do to make it better. So it was kind of a in the moment failure and recovery in immediate time.
Don't you hate when that happens, when you really think you have this phenomenal lesson, you have all these pieces set, and then you miss like one component, which then is a trickle effect on everything else?
It was, and it was a big thing. My principal was really excited about it, and then I was like, "Don't go down there yet. It's not ready. Don't go until third and fourth block goes. Don't read any feedback yet."
Well, and there's that balance between like obviously reflecting and giving yourself some grace, right? So I'm sure you reflected on that and said, "Oh, I need to tweak here and tweak here," which it sounds like you did after the second time that you saw your classes go through. But also this like mentality of, well, hey, every teacher has those moments constantly, so just all part of the
Absolutely.
process.
Yep. And sometimes you have to make a change in a moment in that very second. Sometimes it has to wait until the next block. I think I was back in after, I can't remember if it was first or second block that we had gone through there. And I sat down with that block after they had gone through. And I said, what do you guys understand about how to give feedback? And we created a little intro for the next block before they went in. So it kind of got to be a teachable moment for that one block.
Yeah, you flipped that what could have been looked as a failure or a challenge and actually turned it into a way to make them leaders to help the other blocks. That sounds awesome.
It was fun.
Yeah,
and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's good. That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm glad that was the story you chose to share there. So now let's flip it around. Let's talk about a successful moment you've had. And this could be something big or something small, but tell us what happened. Why was it a success for you? And then what did you take away from that?
Well, to me, the greatest successes are my students' successes. And there are obviously daily successes where, you see the light bulb go off and they get it. But one of the most amazing things for me and one of the exciting kind of stories from my career, I guess, I teach journalism. I've taught journalism for a while. And several years back, probably 5 or 6 years at this point, I had a student that I didn't know very well, but I just, as an educator, you just see something in one of these kids. You're like, you would be amazing at this thing. And I hounded her until she joined journalism. And she joined when she was a sophomore. She was editor-in-chief by the time she was junior. I think she might have been assistant editor-in-chief, junior, editor-in-chief as a senior. Went to Mississippi State, became editor-in-chief at Mississippi State, and now is a full-time award-winning journalist in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And she'll write me and say that I was one of the main reasons why she does this. And she's so happy in this career and so successful. And those successes, and that's one of more than one that I could talk about. And that's one of the most amazing things about being a teacher is that you really get to make an impact. And that just fills you with so much purpose and pride.
I love your viewpoint with both of your stories on this concept of impact, whether it be wanting to make a greater impact because you're reflecting on something that may not have gone well, or you're reflecting on a moment where you're able to make a great impact. I mean, it gets me so excited to hear about teachers being reflective and really having that purpose of not just being content delivery systems, right? Because we could get into a whole talk about that, but really striving for this larger purpose.
If we don't do that, then I don't think we're very good teachers.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So with everything you've been able to do, everything you've been able to accomplish, what is fueling your fire? What's keeping you excited about going into the classroom every single day and trying to have this impact with students?
I'm really excited because I feel like for so long, schools have been kind of in a rut. And I'm starting to see change. And some of that might be, most importantly, in response to the way the world is changing and careers in college. But simple things like flexible seating and inquiry-based learning and project-based assessment. And the fact that, and I'm very lucky because I'm in a school where my administration really encourages us to innovate and try new things, whether that's with seating or with lessons or with just about anything. And I even got to be a part of this fellowship this year called School Retool. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's through Stanford, and they went through the College of William and Mary here in Virginia, and it was all about ways to make small changes in a school to create big change. And each school had one principal and one teacher go and attend. And then we all tried to do a little retool in our school to make it more modern and more innovative. And I found that really inspiring and took that and am continuing with that next year, not the fellowship itself, but what I learned from it.
Something I love that you noted was this opportunity for change that education continues to be within. Jeff, I'm not sure if you remember this, but when we had LaVonna Roth on Teach Better Talk, who I
know
really tried to act appropriate in front of because I'm like such a fangirl of her. Her best response she gave was when we asked her about what's getting her excited. It was very, very similar to yours. She said that she was excited for change, but the way that she phrased it was that she loves that people are frustrated in education right now, because when people are frustrated, change actually happens versus people talking about dreaming about something that could happen, but not having the frustration within them to make it happen, taking that ownership over that change. So I love your response there. Totally spot on.
Well, thank you. I love the way she put it.
Well, we can all try to be like LaVonna Roth. She'd be so upset if she knew that we were talking about her like this. She'd be blushing. Well, I have to ask you then, with everything that we've discussed, right, this opportunity for reflection, trying to enact change, impacting students, what advice would you give new teachers? And this can be new teachers to the job, new teachers for a new school district. We can even classify new teachers as they've just taken an incredible summer break and they're walking in fresh, good as new, right? What type of advice would you give to teachers that are striving to really make this change, this impact?
Well, this is where my passion really lies. My passion is in getting people to realize that teaching is not what America projects teaching to be, this low paid and, not awesome career. And then getting those new teachers excited and ready to go and motivated. And that's what my whole blog is about. So I could go on for days about my advice for new teachers. And in fact, I do on my blog. But I think the most important thing is just to know as a new teacher that you are so needed and that you can do it. I think as a new teacher, it is terrifying thinking about walking into your very own classroom on the very first day. And as a high school teacher planning, 180 days, 90 minutes per class, it's overwhelming to think of those things. And I think it would be abnormal not to fear that you're not going to be good enough, or that you're going to struggle with behavior management, or you're not going to know all the answers. But it's okay to not know all the answers. It's great to not know all the answers because you and your students can find them together. And it's okay to be scared, and you are good enough. And there's just so much need. And I get so frustrated. This is where my frustration turns into action. I get so frustrated because there's amazing kids out there that would make amazing teachers. But because of the culture around education right now, they don't. Because they don't want to get paid what we get paid, or they fear the lack of prestige, or they don't think it's going to be as fulfilling as it really is. And so my passion is to get those kids in high school and college to realize how fulfilling teaching can be and how amazing they could be as teachers.
So Kathleen,
I could go on.
I'm going to have you go on, because you talked about, this way that America projects the teachers, and then you touched on some of the points there and how that can stop kids. So how do we do that? How do we combat that? How do we try to fix that? So how do we take the frustration and take it even more action? Like, how do we change that perception so that these amazing kids that you're talking about that should be going and should be educators see that it's a viable option for them, a fulfilling option for them, the right option for them? Like, what else can we do, or should we be doing? Or maybe something is happening, it just maybe needs to be on a larger scale.
That's something I think about every day. Unfortunately, it's a systematic problem. And I'm hoping that I'm making a small little itty bitty difference in my corner that I can. And the more educators that talk positively about the job. And I understand it's not perfect and it is hard and it is not well paid, but I can't imagine a career that could be more fulfilling given my experience as a teacher. And so when I'm on social media or I'm talking to my students, I talk about teaching in a positive way. And I try through social media and my colleagues and friends to have them talk about teaching in a positive way, although a realistic way, because it's not a perfect job, as no job really is. But there are tons of things about teaching that, even beyond June, July, and August, as some would say, that make it one of the best careers there is, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I
just wish more people would talk about it positively.
I think you're hitting it on the head there. That's a big piece of how we can continue to combat that, is talking about positive and trying to fight out any of that negative. Sometimes it's easier to share that meme or that gif or that joke or whatever that actually that seems funny, but actually paints a negative light on the career and touches on things. And I think we have to be aware about that and have conversations about the fact that, well, that's funny to people in the field. It also paints this picture that you're not happy, that you don't like it, that the kids are, frustrating you, driving you crazy, and that might be true. But I think we need to change the focus and put the spotlight on the things you're talking about, the fulfillment, the impact, the changes you're making. I mean, you have an opportunity every single day that you walk into a school and into your classroom to literally change someone's life and potentially change the world as you're doing it. So
right.
like frustrations,
absolutely.
yes, stresses, absolutely. But that's because you're carrying a pretty important task, the weight of the world. So I get it. But I think that positive talk is a big piece. And then we need to get some politicians to get things in order and get pay up and stuff, which is a little further out of our control. But I think continuing to positive.
It's getting better slowly.
Yeah, but I think the positive talk is a great, and sharing those stories is a great additional step and a good foundational piece. So that's awesome. I love it.
Kathleen and Jeff, one of the main pieces I'm taking away from you guys going back and forth is this concept of teachers needing to be able to control the narrative, right? Mm-hmm. So we can make action, we can make changes, and there's a lot of things that educators that we can do right this moment to change the narrative, and things we can work towards long term to change the narrative. And so if you're able as the educator to really consider what you're pushing out, the language you're using, how you're presenting yourself to your students, your stakeholders, your administration, that is in some small way, no matter how small, your opportunity to control the narrative. And I would love to see teachers take action with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even in their own classrooms, talking to their students
mm-hmm.
and showing that they're happy. And I feel like so many, because that's when they're making those decisions in high school in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see these teachers complaining and moaning about what's going on or some little thing that's bothering them. And then they're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. But if they see a teacher that's excited and motivated and makes a difference in their lives, then they're like, oh, maybe I should do this. This might be a career that is fulfilling in my life.
Exactly. And it starts from that classroom out, and it goes down the hallways to your colleagues. Because if you speak more positively and you can push that positive out and get your colleagues to not go to the negative route when they're having a rough day, and maybe they latch onto your positivity and keep positive, that impacts their students in their classrooms. Then it goes out in the community. And Ray, I think I mentioned it last episode, but Joe Sanfilippo, I saw him just do his keynote last week, and he talks about how if you don't control your narrative and you don't share your story, that people will just make up their own story about you. And I think that happens,
exactly,
especially if the only thing that outside folks, like people in the community and then the even broader community, only see that, the complaining or the negativity and the frustration, and don't see as enough of the impact and everything. We talk about it amongst educators and on this show, and on our blog and at conferences and stuff, but are we talking enough about it on a larger scale so that our communities are feeling and seeing all the amazing things that are happening inside the classrooms, that they're feeling better? Because guess what? All those people in the community who may or may not be telling the story of your school that you want them to, and the positive things about the teachers, those are all your students, parents, who are also helping to control and guide them on where they want to go. And if they have a negative look on the profession, they're going to say, oh, you don't want to be a teacher, it's low pay, there's no gratitude, you don't want to do that, go be this or go be that. Versus, like Ray said, controlling that narrative and sharing that positivity and that impact with your community, those stakeholders are more likely to say, yeah, go be a teacher. Remember those teachers have had this impact on your life, and do that. I love this. I'm pumped. That's great.
Right.
All right, so now I'm gonna just flip it. We're gonna go frustration and stress. This is crazy because I'm gonna make you answer questions really quickly.
Jeff, okay. Do you have the sweatband on? Just curious.
I'm ready. I got my headband on. I've got my stopwatch ready. I actually put my running shoes on just so I'm ready.
Have you stretched? I hate for you to pull a muscle.
I use my rubber band. I'm all stretched out. I'm good to go. She's really got her work cut out for her here. This is going to be
ready.
Tough. I think you're ready. So the next 6 questions. You got 15 seconds or less to answer each one of them. One is one ed tech tool you cannot live without.
Everything Google. I use Google Docs. I use Google Teams. I use Google Forms. Google everything.
Love it. Give us a book that you're reading right now.
I actually just finished The Other Boleyn Girl. I'm a huge sucker for historical fiction, and I loved it.
Awesome. Who should we follow on Twitter today?
This year I got to see Hamish Brewer speak, and he was amazing. So at Brewer HM. And then I've been collaborating with, I'm going to save her for later. Justin Tart is a good one. And then Ted Dentersmith, of course, for the whole school revamping and moving into the future.
Awesome. What's the best YouTube channel or website for educators?
So I have been collaborating with Samantha Fethich, and she's at Grove City College up in Pennsylvania. And so I've really been following her quite a bit, and we have the same kind of mindset about the importance of the future educators. So I recommend her.
Can we just talk about how everybody knows Samantha and she's doing amazing things?
She really is. We had her on with a bunch of her teachers, actually. A bunch of her
preceptors. And she's hosted Mastery Chat. I mean, she's like an all-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what episode it was that she was on. But that was great. We had like what did we have, Ray? Five or six of her students on with us, and it was really cool. I think it was it was episode 38. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them on with us, and Sam was on there kind of helping us guide and stuff too. It was a really cool episode.
That's awesome.
So definitely go check that
Samantha
out.
She seems to be one of those educators that loves to do everything that's relatively normal. And then she puts this like spin on it. Like she's constantly just kind of like up in her game with different ways to approach podcasting and blogging, Mastery Chat, everything in between.
Yes.
Yeah, total rock star. Give us a daily, weekly, or monthly routine every teacher should get into.
I actually just wrote a blog post on new teacher morning must. So you got to have a morning routine so that you can get to school before you actually need to be at school. Things like putting on comfortable shoes and not skipping breakfast and having extra time, all that kind of stuff. So you can check that out on my blog.
Yep, we'll make sure to link that over in the show notes. We'll link right to that post so you guys can check that out as well. And finally, give us the best piece of advice you've ever received.
I think the best piece of advice would be don't take it personally unless it's good.
I like that.
There's going to be things, kids are going to say things, and it's not about you. It's not personal. Something happened another point in their day and made them upset, and it's going to be taken out on you because you're there. But you can't take it personally.
I love it.
Love it.
Well done.
I have, as always, the most important question, and that is just to make sure that our listeners stay connected with you to continue this conversation. You have such an amazing vision. I love your dedication to helping our future teachers, our current teachers. This is just so up my alley. I want to partner with you on something. So I want to know how our listeners can stay connected.
All right. So I am at A Teacher's Guide on Twitter, Wannabe Teacher's Guide on Instagram. My blog is wannabeteacher.com. On Facebook, I'm a teacher's guide. And then my book, obviously, is a Wannabe Teacher's Guide to Getting Hired, Having Fun, and Staying Sane. So pretty much if you look up Wannabe Teacher, you Google that, you'll find me.
Awesome. And you can find all the links and all the resources and everything we talked about in this episode over at teachbetter.com, as well as those links to connect with Kathleen and get her books and check out her blog and connect with her and keep the conversation going. All that's over in the show notes at teachbetter.com. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Ray, I cannot say the word subscribe today.
It's
This
really
is like
tough
the third
for you.
time. I'm just
I
like hit the button that makes sure that you get the episodes. How's that?
There you go.
Whatever that button's called. And and then if you can give us a rating and a review, we'd really appreciate that as well. And if you could take it one step further, think of just 3 of your colleagues who need to hear these amazing stories and share this podcast with them. We really appreciate that. Kathleen, this has been fantastic. I am so grateful that you felt it worthy of your time to step away from your family vacation to come and chat with us. The value you shared today was just priceless and amazing, and we're so fortunate, so lucky, and so honored to have you in our PLN and Mastery Chats and everything, and looking forward to continuing to just learn and grow with you. And we just really appreciate time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was fun.
Until next time, let's get out there and let's teach better.